Oh man, you already know what it is. It's about that time. You are now welcome to the Great Debate Podcast, featuring your girl Rema and Debra Coco, right here, each and every other Friday night. Let's get it.
You guys, we got a little bit of technical difficulty, but don't worry, we working.
Yes, we got it. We got it. It's all good.
So hey, Debra.
Hi, Rema.
Oh, what's going on?
Crazy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
What a crazy week. You want to just get into it?
We might as well because it's been the same kind of feeling throughout since we got the news, right? On Sunday.
Yeah.
What was you doing when you heard about it?
I actually was in the supermarket. You know me, doing my hobby.
Right.
I love to cook. So
Right.
Rema was in the supermarket and I was on the phone with Toya, but my phone was going off. But because I was on the phone and I was food shopping, I didn't look at my phone. And Toya's like, yo, sis, I think Kobe Bryant just died. I said, nah, sis, that's not true, right? She's like, TMZ reported it. And I'm like, nah, that's not true. I remember being in ShopRite and repeating Kobe Bryant couldn't be dead. And 5 other shoppers was just in my conversation. Like, what did you just say?
Right.
Like out the blue. Like,
Right.
That's how me repeating it, not believing it, and others hearing me repeat it, like pause me in my own conversation to ask me what I was saying, was it true?
If they heard it correctly.
Right. So that's how deep it was.
I was actually on set, filming at the studio, and shout out to Tristan from High Five. He was like, he just said it out loud, and I'm like, are you serious? So I immediately got on my phone and started checking different sources. Because sometimes you hear it one time, they got all this fake news and all this stuff, but then I went to CNN. Right. And, reliable. And I was like, oh my God. And it was almost hard to continue
It took
taping.
a while for the news to actually, when I first heard of it, the news wasn't releasing it. Like, it wasn't on the news yet. So all I was relying on was social media, which you don't really ever want to believe what you're looking at on social media.
Right.
But what I will say, when you see that TMZ stamp on it, it's 9 times out of 10 true.
Right.
Unfortunately, TMZ does their job better than the police department at this point.
Well, they post what they want to post. That whole media is under the thumb right there. So whatever they feel or however they want to represent it, that's how it goes down. But I'm telling you, I don't really feel like I'm back on track since Sunday. I feel like it's almost, I think you had put up a post saying, it's almost like you lost somebody that you actually
your favorite
knew.
cousin, like you're never going to see again.
Cousin.
That's how I felt Sunday. I felt like, let me just say this. There was a lot of mixed emotions about people posting up Kobe and acting like they knew Kobe. And let's just keep in mind that the kid came into all our lives at the age of 17.
Right.
We watched Kobe grow, good, bad, and indifferent. He was a human being, because even though Kobe, his image was a good, clean image, he also had controversy in his life, because that's what humans do. We can't always walk the straight and narrow. But what I will say, Debra, and I don't know about you being a single black mother raising boys, but for me, Kobe helped me bridge a gap with my son.
Right.
My son used to be like, I'm not smoking weed because I'm trying to be like Kobe.
Right.
For young black boys, and you a single black mother, I can only speak for black women, but the Latinos, any single black mother, you want to have some way to bridge with your son, a conversation, a topic that's positive. And Kobe was that for my household.
He was that for mine. My sons is 12 and 14, and they definitely looked up to Kobe. They were sad when he retired, and they followed him. They followed him in the news. They was happy to see him on the sidelines at the games. And I mean, it's just I still almost can't believe it. Even with seeing all that I'm seeing, the tributes and everything, I'm just like, I almost cannot still believe that this actually happened. You know what I mean? It's so tragic. So tragic.
And he is a hero to many.
Right.
And I don't think that we are ever going to have an athlete in American sports to take it to the level that Kobe Bryant took it to.
Right.
And I just want to say prayers to his, wife, his children.
And to everybody that was on the plane.
That was on the plane.
Tragic. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Like, how many times we get on a plane to go on vacation or travel? And
it was a helicopter. I'm afraid of that. Like, I'm afraid of anything small. Like, that's why I don't really like islands. I don't like destination islands because you always got to fly that little, you have to fly to the destination city and then get on this.
You get on the main plane and then you get on the smaller one.
I don't like the smaller ones. I have this fear of smaller planes, and there's so many greats that we lost in the air, and I'm talking about in the 50s, like there's great people that died in the air, and I remember back in the day when we were younger, Fat Joe, he's from my neighborhood, and Fat Joe was like a huge artist. He would lose a lot of money because he would never step on a plane, and it was until he was like maybe 10 years ago recent that he like started to fly. And we used to always be like, yo, how could you pass the bag up? And he's like, I'm never getting, at that point he was like, I'm never getting on a plane, And I get it, I get it, to the people that like have this fear of flying and like it's just a scary, eerie thing right now.
Very, very. I mean,
put it to work.
Yeah, I can't even explain it. It's almost because you have no control. It's like you get on that plane and somebody else has your destiny, whether you make it or not to your destination in their hands. That's the thing. I feel like if you in a car, okay, you may crash, but you got some type of chance of survival. But once you in the air, you coming down, at a high speed, like.
And they said that it took a minute for them from the time they knew they were gonna to the time they had impact. And I'm thinking a minute, that's 60 seconds of a man's job is to always protect his daughter. So, I mean, I really think that Kobe's heart probably left his body before he even hit the ground because you know how long 60 seconds is for you to hold your child and there's nothing you can do to protect your child's life for 60 seconds? That probably had to been like 8,000 years. Right.
It's imaginable. I mean, it definitely changed the tone of the week. And
salute to the Lakers playing tonight, and LeBron and the whole team. Salute to the Lakers that they are carrying, because at the end of the day, that's what Kobe. The last text to him was regarding keeping it pushing. So we do have to keep it pushing.
I just hope we learn something as people, because life could be going like that. You got people out here doing all kind of things. I just hope people think about this, right? And try to do better by people, because you just never know when that last conversation is going to be,
I definitely know for me, my pastor had, before me hearing the news, I had church, right? And my pastor, the service that same Sunday was on waking up and having some sort of presence and meaning every day of your life. And that when you don't have any type of goal, any type of resource, or any type of ambition of something that you want to do, what my pastor was saying basically was, you are going to be an empty person, and therefore you're only going to harbor negative thoughts and negative energy and negative vibes, because you're not waking up and you're not getting out of bed and you're not starting your day saying, I'm working towards owning my store, or I'm working towards building my brand. You just waking up every day, you're going to your 9 to 5 or your 10 to 6 or whatever you make your daily money, but you have to have some sort of goal outside of that. And it was one of the most deepest sermons that I probably sat in. You always feel like they're talking to you, but he put back into perspective when I left church that day that I will start my community service back. I used to do so much community service, and even though I am working with a doctor on mentorship program, I still need to do more for free. I need to give more of me for free. I need to fit that in. I fit in all this other stuff. I need to fit that in. Do it for others.
Do something for your soul. Do something for your soul where you feel good, just when you're not expecting anything back. You're just giving. That's a beautiful feeling. But, again, like I said, I hope we just try to make better choices as people going forward, because you just never know. This was a wake-up call to whatever you was taking for granted. You know, whatever you was overlooking, maybe you need to sit back and analyze some things, you know, and try to live your life with a purpose and a goal, like you said, with a purpose. I try to wake up every day, have a purpose. My thing is when I wake up, I'm thankful. I give thanks. I go out. I'm a teacher. I try to give my knowledge and share what I can with others. So I feel like I have a fulfilling day. And whatever happens outside of that, my relationships with adults, I try to just have temperance and patience and, you know, try to see things from other people's perspective and try not to get an attitude. Try not to take things personal all the time, you know?
That's well said, Zach.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So just try to live life differently and let that animosity and all that stuff go and try to
Or if
live
you have
right.
if you have somebody in your life that is bringing that, then you might need to step back. You know, when you love somebody, just because you step back doesn't mean that you don't care or you don't love the person the same. Sometimes you just gotta do what is best for you. That's not just the meme.
That's gospel. Because that's where I had to do that. I had to personally do that in my life. That's because when you post things on social media, I'm like, I could relate. And I'm not just saying it.
And you know, a lot of my stuff comes from the gut.
No, well, hey, we got the same gut then. Because I can understand and I can relate to all of that because that's exactly the transition that I feel like I'm having in my life today. And I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to do things right. And I'm trying to recognize what kind of energy people are bringing to me. And if it doesn't sit right with me, then I have to back up and let it go. I'm not going to have people, you know, impose or make me feel I got to go through things that I don't have to go through. How about that?
And not to me, because this is a very upbeat show, but
right.
To just,
it is.
To just, you know, to close the caption on passing, I want to send a huge condolences to the entire family. I lost a childhood friend the night before last.
Wow.
Ed, OG Ed, and you know, I've known Ed since he was a kid. We came up together. We were
okay.
Quick.
Right. Okay.
Good evening, caller. You're on the air. It's the Great Debate Show.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, ladies. Positive energy, man. Life is short, man.
Hi, Mr. Positive Energy.
Hi, Positive Energy.
How y'all doing today?
We need you.
Yes, you brighten us up now. We was going under.
And it's crazy because I thought about driving up there, but my mom just not feeling too good. So I said, well, let me try to tend to her because she has a cold that for some reason it doesn't.
Going on, Vic. A lot of
yeah. So I'm trying to like really be around her a little bit more, you know. But you know, just listening to y'all and I always say that it shouldn't have taken Kobe's passing for people to wake up, because even before his passing, I've been trying to promote positivity, life is short, no negative energy.
Right.
And I be saying to myself, like, what is it going to take for people to be like, you know what, we need to stop doing what we're doing. Now, if you got beef with someone and you don't want to, you know, make peace with them or you don't want to forgive them, it's cool. But then distance yourself from them.
Right.
No more contact.
It's called
move on. Exactly.
Yes,
move on. No subs. No talking up. No nothing. That's how you move on. Exactly.
Life.
That's how you move on.
It's a billion people out in the world. You don't get along with somebody. You might have loved the person. You might have cared about them, but sometimes, right, Vic, in relationships, hardships, friendships, family ships, it doesn't always gel.
Right.
You got to. What I did was I have distanced myself from places, venues, people, anyone that's not about positivity. Now, you don't have to be perfect, but you can't be negative.
Right.
So what I do is I read the Bible more. I listen to sermons, and whatever negative energy or any type of feelings I have towards someone, I make sure I take it out of my heart.
Right.
Because I'm like, I don't want to carry that. I don't want to.
Right.
So,
it takes a toll on you, and you don't even realize
it. Takes a lot. Yeah, it takes a lot of energy to carry that and then demonstrate it.
Right.
I don't want to live my life that way.
Right.
Right.
So I try to make peace and I try to forgive, but there are people that for some reason will never change. And I have experienced it when I first started the brand up until now. And I be saying to myself, like, really? Like, but then I think about then Jesus was put on the cross by his own people. Right. He was stoned with stones, so who am I? So I've learned,
right.
Exactly. I've learned to take it, and I hear it from the streets, from the people. Like recently, someone was questioning why they had my brand on, or why they supporting the brand on 2 different occasions, and I'm like, wow, they still doing that? I don't even go out no more. So why are they still doing that?
Wow.
Because that comes from it's life. Just how you're gonna, Vic, with the same way how you have positive energy, there's always gonna be negative energy. It's just life. You're not gonna have across the board one. You know what I mean? So like you said, even though you're not out or whatever, it will not exempt you from people trying to bring that towards you. But it's 2020, so now we all know that you could either receive it or you could not receive it. You know, you should know when somebody's bringing this type of energy. You should be able to identify you as yourself. And if you don't, then you need to go learn yourself. Because you should be able to know when somebody is bringing negative energy towards you. It shouldn't take Debra to tell me that Pete is bringing me negative energy. I need to know that Pete has negative energy and he's bringing it in my life.
And once you know it, then you have to distance yourself. So when it comes to family or friends, the phone call, the blocking, the deleting, the unfollowing, you have to do that, because if not, it's like the devil's knocking on the door. Just because the devil's knocking on the door, you don't have to answer it or open it.
You sure don't. You sure don't.
You know, so this is why when I listen to a sermon and it says offenses will come, regardless of how good you are, no matter how positive, how righteous, how spiritual you are in good, offenses will come. It's how we handle the offensive, how we handle the negativity. Right. We can't let it consume us.
You're supposed to move on a higher frequency.
We want to thank you for calling. We're gonna loosen up the lines. We got a guest, so we want to finish.
Yeah. Because if not, I'll be here at 10 o'clock.
Thanks for calling in. We always appreciate it. And you can call up anytime on us, man.
All right, have a good night.
All right, and I hope your mother feel better.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks, Positive Energy, for calling up. You guys, if you want to call us up, definitely do that. The number is 347-708-0218. I'm gonna repeat that. I got it. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's retake. The number is 347-708-0216. Sorry for you guys. So,
before we bring our guests, we got a little promotions we got to join.
Yeah, and I also want to touch on Super Bowl 50. We have to touch on Super Bowl 54.
Super Bowl this Sunday. Yeah. Right, it's going down. Well,
I don't watch.
Well, look, who's in it? I don't even know.
I
don't even know who's in it. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I'm going for the 49ers because I like their colors. Because my team is not in it. So
What's the colors? I have not watched.
Gold. You know, I'm a girl. Red and gold.
Oh my God, that's my colors.
It's the Chiefs, the 49ers, right? Yeah. All right, we got another call.
Yeah, so we gonna do Super Bowl Sunday.
Hello, caller. You on the air? It's the Great Debate.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
I know that voice.
Yeah, you already know what it said. How you doing, Debra? How you doing?
I'm doing good, but you know what? When we get our guests on the air, I definitely need you to call and talk to our guests that we have tonight.
Okay, so I'll do the best I can. But I want to respond to something.
Okay.
You know, every time, when a celebrity passes away, a black man or black woman passes away, it's all about, they find out things about the individual, and everybody wants to give their blessings and, and all this emotions come up, but nobody talks about someone when they're alive. And, and then you start hearing people that just called in. He talks about what he does, the brands and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's always when somebody passes away. Now I feel for the Bryant family, because I just lost my dad, You know, some time ago, the way I found out he had passed 5 months before I even found out.
Wow, my
You know, and
condolences.
so when you hear people like, tell someone you love them today, I mean, I understand it now because I wish he was alive. I felt like I didn't say enough, I didn't do enough, and I'm suffering. I'm probably going to suffer for the rest of my life. But what I want to see happen is not to hear someone talk about what they're doing when someone passes away. How about, I mean, every day someone's giving a party, you see flyers, they're doing this and that. How about we have a whole Black Expo, the same way you can give parties in clubs? How about someone in the community just like, you know what, we're going to do this every month. Everybody's trying to have a brand now. We all get together, do that once a month. There's so many parties going on, but nobody's supporting each other in that way. Let's rent a hall or something like that. Let's do it that way.
And show love.
Show love.
Right.
We can sell tickets to go to boat rides and stuff like that, but nobody's talking about networking. Let's rent a club. Let's rent a spot. Let's do it this way.
I would have to disagree. You know why nobody's talking about networking? Because you have social media, and that is networking for most people. And the reason why people do parties and not gatherings is because everybody's about their own bag nowadays.
Their own bag, right?
Not to say it's right or wrong. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying to you, you were saying like everybody's doing parties nowadays and they're not doing more networking supporting. I agree. I come from a network era. I get it. But what I'm saying is you also gotta know what's going on currently in order to do change. And we don't acknowledge what's going on currently, we will not be able to successfully have change. Right? So what we need to do is figure out a way, like you said, to make networking fun again outside of social media. If you go rent the Amahan Ballroom and we do like a Black Expo there, it's not gonna be big unless you still add social media. So you have to give the people something different so they can understand the difference that I'm not getting this food I'm not getting off social media.
Right.
So that's gonna be the draw.
Right.
Because this is a social, it's just a social media network. Everybody feels like that is my plug, that is my network.
People are living through social media. How about that? Creating images and all kinds of stuff through social media. So
that's the reason why for change. But I agree with what you're saying.
Right, definitely.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. I'm just putting out there the obvious of why the change has been so great.
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, maybe this may touch people in a way that they start making some little changes, and maybe you may see some differences in what you've seen before. You never know.
Thank you for calling up.
I don't know. I have no faith in it anymore. I've seen over and over again.
You gotta keep the faith, Joseph. Hi, Joseph. You gotta keep the faith, all right?
Yes, man. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now,
Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday. So shout out to everybody betting out there and getting that money. I've seen some numbers.
I can't bet. I don't even know who's playing. I'm just showing up. Wherever I'm going, I'm going.
So,
I don't know what's happening.
Viewers, give us your favorite foods. Call us up. I'm trying to do a different type of menu. I got girlfriends that doing their own Super Bowl parties.
Yeah.
All the people I know that got their Super Bowl parties going on. We trying to be a little bit more creative. I mean, I got two things. One of the things I just told you, I know is going to be creative because I don't go to Super Bowl parties and they have that. But give us your favorite foods. Call us up. If you are a foodie for Super Bowl, look, they like the girls would call for food, right? But, I mean, we hungry, right? So call us up if you want to give us your favorite food. What do you think is the number one Super Bowl favorite food of all time? Is it chili? Is it pigs in the blanket? Is it sliders? Is it orange wings? Is it lemon pepper? We want to hear. So call us up.
She's making me hungry.
347-708-0216. Now, we have a great
yeah,
show.
We're going to get it. Matter of fact, we're definitely going to get into some things that...
In the promo
of
first?
course, we got to promote iAccess Radio LLC, okay? Man, we got a full lineup going on here now.
I see.
We got Saturdays. We got Let's Be Clear at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
These are all the lineup shows that you can log into on iAccess Radio. You got. Why am I talking into the mic with they? So these are all the shows that you guys can log on to at iAccess Radio. If you want to log in and check out other shows, this is, not only me and Debra up here. It's actually
No,
we have
it's
a whole
only
bunch
them
of
side.
sisters and brothers. We
do have family. We got family
that also have shows.
Yes. All right, so look, we got Saturdays. We got 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We got Let's Be Clear. We got Big Rich the Ruler at 1 p.m. to 3. And we also got Violators at 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So then we got every other Saturday, Love and Lust. I think I got to check that one out, right? With Red Spice and Wiz, 5 p.m. to 7. Tuesdays, Talk It Out Radio, 8 p.m. to 10. And we got Thursday, Got Rich Radio, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And every other Friday, of course, is us, right? And then we also have Sisterhood Radio, 8 p.m. to 10. So it's a great lineup. And if you are also looking, as a matter of fact, we are looking for media experts, bloggers, vloggers, filmmakers, production assistants. And if you want to be down, make sure you send an email to info@iaccessradio@gmail.com. Send an email. Let us know what you're interested in doing.
I'll call you on the air. It's the Great Debate.
Hi, Rema. Hi, Debra. This is Kelly. How are you?
Hi, Kelly. What's good?
Good. No, I was calling when you mentioned food. That's what I'm calling.
Yeah. We encourage the calling. So Kelly, tell us, what's your favorite Super Bowl food?
But I like hot wings.
Right.
Yeah. You
Right.
like
And
them really
buffalo
hot
wings.
or mild hot?
No, I like them just not hot. I can't handle too hot.
What's your favorite
And
dipping sauce?
Buffalo sauce.
Okay.
I usually make for Sunday we're just gonna make our own buffalo wings.
Do you bake them or do you fry them and then bake them?
We fry them. Yeah, we fry them first and then put the sauce on it and then
you
bake them.
bake it. Right. Oh, it's good.
Just like KFC, but we do it our own.
Right. I'm trying. My people are gonna be mad at me because I'm actually doing 3 things that are healthy, but they're gonna taste fatty. So
okay.
So I'll give 2 away. So one is I'm doing a quiche, but with the Filipino dough. So I'm gonna
Filipino.
It's a dough that I'm doing tonight. And let it rise all day tomorrow. So Sunday when y'all come, it'll be nice and fresh. It's very, very light, and I'm gonna do a spinach a spinach concoction with red peppers and bell peppers and spinach.
That sounds good.
And then what I do is I put the butter over the dough that I raised, and then I let the spinach bake on that. You guys are gonna love it because it's like sweet dough with spinach, and it's a quiche. My aunt taught me how to do it. It's
that
really
sounds good.
And then
So you're not gonna have any sandwiches?
Yeah, I'm gonna have sandwiches. We're gonna have sliders. But I do sliders normal, and my friend Tanya, big shout out to Tanya watching, because she loves my sliders so much. She'll be coming to my house. She'll be like, I will buy every single ingredient. I just want you to make the sliders.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
So yeah. So
no, I can vouch for Rema's.
And I'm gonna do baked wings. So Kelly, I know you said fried, and I do fried too, Kelly. But I want to try to give my peoples a little health kick. So I'm gonna do these orange glazed wings, or orange like marmalade sauce.
What you doing?
Right.
And I'm gonna bake the wings in my air fryer. So I have an air fryer oven. So let's see how that works out.
I'm going to tell y'all how that works out, because I'm going to be right there eating them air fried.
We're definitely going to have sliders though, but yeah.
Oh, that's dope. Okay, I'm excited now. She done got me excited.
Thank you for calling up, Kelly.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Any other foodies, call us up. Let us know.
This topic that we about to talk about with our guests is, shout out to my friend Artie Cordell, because, this was another sad week for me in reference to him. It was a situation that happened that was an accident, road rage. Somebody jumped in his face, spit on him, and it just was something. I don't even want to say all the detail because I don't even know 100%. So I take that back. But it's a decision that was made in 30 seconds. This man was on his way home, regular day, never got in trouble, good guy. Ended up having to go to trial because it was an incident that happened due to this aggravated situation where somebody died, right? So now he actually had to go to jail. He got sentenced. Never been to jail, good guy, actor. And he actually, went to trial before Christmas. The judge gave him a couple of days to be with his family, because he even told the DA and him in court, this man has never been in trouble. He's an actor. They took his acting from when he played like urban movies and they tried to display that in court to make it seem like he was an aggressive person who would do this accidental type of situation. But the fact of the matter is someone died. So he was offered to take it to trial where he would have been offered like 5 to 15 or 5 to 18 years or plea and get 18 months, right? He ended up taking the plea on it. So he just got sentenced January 29th.
Wow,
and he did a
heavy.
video. He did a video about his journey. He don't even know how he got in this situation. He don't even know what happened. You know what I'm saying? He was on his way home. Something so quick, 30 seconds can change your whole life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could change your whole life. Somebody who's never been incarcerated, who doesn't even live that kind of life at all as a child, and now is sentenced and had to go away. So I feel like the topic we're about to talk about tonight, the system, your book.
Call your parents, call your parents,
Yeah.
everybody. We really want you guys to tune in. This show is going to be really deep and informative, and we just want to make sure all the viewers call in. I'm going to repeat the number again because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of parents that want to call and speak to our guest tonight. Our guest tonight is Booker G's, and the call up, the number to join the conversation and to join the topic is 347-708-0216.
Right.
Before we go into that, there's one more thing that I just want to say and add to the Kobe situation, you guys. They are trying to they're going to start putting out a petition for the NBA to change the logo into Kobe. And I know that everybody thought MJ should get it and MJ would get it, and supposedly I didn't see the petition that MJ had supposedly started, but supposedly MJ started this petition that the logo should go to Kobe and not him. So when they do, and when we get on social media and we hear that, everybody should definitely
I felt that. Thank you.
Everybody should definitely
sign that petition.
Yeah, sign that petition.
Right.
And let's get Kobe
Right. And I'm glad that Michael Jordan endorsed it. Right? As you say, MJ is the one.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that he endorsed it because, sometimes people have egos and other things going on, but I'm glad that people are looking outside of themselves and showing recognition where recognition is due.
I feel like there's something else that we're forgetting at the topic. It's something that is important to me, but I cannot remember. All right, it is what it is. It happens. So much in my brain cells.
So make sure y'all tune in. Check out all the great shows. Subscribe to iAccess Radio on YouTube. And we'll be right back with our guests, right?
Yes, we'll be right back with our guests.
That just flowed.
We're still live, so you just come join the conversation.
Hi everybody on Facebook Live. How you doing? Call in 347-708-0216. Hi Trey. Hi everybody. Trey's my Aryan twin. Right, we share a birthday. Hi Trey.
Can you move in just a little bit?
Okay, let's make sure we got you good in the shot. So, are we ready? Just gonna jump into it? All right. Well, look. I had the pleasure of interviewing you, and we talked about this book,
Right.
Locked Up and Put Away. So let's get into. I think that's a good way to introduce. Give us a little background on you, and then we'll jump into the book.
Okay. Well, basically. My name is Booker G's, and I spent 10 years as a juvenile counselor between the time of 2005 and 2015. And prior to doing that, I was a clothing designer. And I started out, making outfits and doing clothing lines in California. And then I opened up my own boutique in the Harlem Shabazz Market.
Right.
And, after that, I was going through a transition in my life where I basically was working towards being a good father at the same time, because at that point, my son was born, my daughter was here, and I was married at the time, and I had to make a decision whether I was going to continue my dream as a fashion designer or I was going to focus on my children.
Right.
And I said the better thing was to focus on my children. So in doing that, I was pursuing a full-time position, and a guy that lived in the building that I lived in, he was the rec director at the Department of Juvenile Justice. And he said, listen, I can get you something because, you've been working with, youth at risk in Yonkers and all over the city. So you would be, qualified to get the job. So, I got the job and I started working there. And I immediately got caught up in the whole concept of believing that these kids were the enemies. And these kids were the ones who needed to be put down and put in their place. And, almost like a correction officer type of setting. But you got to understand that these are children. So it was
What were the age range?
They would start out as young as 10.
Okay.
10 to 17.
Oh, right.
That was the age range. And it started to become discouraging for me as a black man and as a father to feel like I was doing injustice to my own people to be a part of the system that was depriving these young men of their dream and their future.
Right.
And it was a revolving door because they set it up in a way where it was attractive, it was fun, it was like Disney World to them. And the next step for these kids was Rikers. So a lot of times they were mixing up different kids. So a kid who would hop the train was next door to a kid that murdered somebody.
Wow,
and
crazy.
the next door after that was a kid that raped somebody. And the next door after that was a kid that gangbanged. So immediately that one kid who really had no criminal background became a pop-off dummy to them,
Right.
Doing little deeds and stuff to fit in. And then he ends up becoming a part of that system.
Wow.
So it was culture shock for me because I didn't really grow up in that type of environment. And I didn't know that we were getting down like that, like we were treating each other like that.
Right.
And then I ended up becoming institutionalized myself.
Mm-hmm.
I started to feel locked up. I started to feel like I was a part of, something that was so toxic, and I needed to do what I had to do to survive in that environment. So there were a lot of times, I found myself, making it easier for my day to get rid of the badass kid. So I might go to the bathroom and let them pack dude up. And I was like, you know what? This is somebody's child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I have children myself. I can't do this anymore. So in 2015, I resigned from the job, and I wrote the book, Locked Up and Put Away.
Wow.
So the drive from the book, you wrote this book immediately after retiring from there?
I was in the process while I was still working there. I started writing, and then once I found a publisher, that was it. I resigned. I said that was it. I said it was time for me to become somewhat of an advocate for these young people, to know that there's somebody out here that is going to speak for them and help their parents understand how to get them through this system.
Let me ask you, you've seen all kinds of walks of life of youth coming in and out of this facility.
Right.
Before we even get into the book, I want to just discuss, because we have a lot of parents that's watching, right? And I just wanted to go into a little bit of the mannerisms. Like, what were you seeing come in, the kid that wasn't in trouble? What were you seeing that was the most detrimental part? Like, was it that they wanted to be a follower or wanted to fit in?
Right. What's some of the trends you saw with that?
There were situations where immediately you come onto the hall, kid's gonna say what you jacket, meaning what gang you a part of. Sometimes you're neutral. Maybe that's the best thing, but then it's not, because then you become exposed because you don't have no protection.
Right.
So they're gonna really harass you and take what's yours. Give me a snack, give me your commissary, give me your phone time. You know what I'm saying? That stuff was going on.
Without being in a gang.
Right.
Without being in the gang.
No
So it's worse for you.
affiliations, right?
So then it would become a situation where you may say it's better that I join a gang, but then what ends up happening is that the gang members will say, listen, you better pop on him or we're gonna pop on you. Now, you have no problems with this next person. And I would be in the process taking the group to gym or to the cafeteria, kid would just hook off on another kid out of nowhere. Happens every single day.
Every day?
Every day. Every day something like that would go on. There was a time when there was a particular gang called the 1090s that had a complete chokehold on the entire building. To the point, and it was crazy because the leader of that gang he basically had his visitation rights revoked because someone was coming in and bringing him drugs. So they said you could not get any more visitors. And he said, every day that I don't get a visitor, somebody that works here is going to get popped. And every day for about 9 days, somebody got popped on. They gave him back his visitation.
They did?
Oh yeah.
Ain't that something?
That's how it gets done.
He used his power in order to get what he wanted.
That's how it works in there.
I mean, that's life in a sense,
Right.
but for you, we talk
Children.
about
Control the system,
we talk
to
about
change the
children.
system.
Right.
That's how it was working. Because what I found that was discouraging and hurtful for me is that it was such a sinister environment. It was so like evil in there.
What made it sinister? The fact that they were popping off.
Well, we can even go further back because I was working at the detention center over on 3rd Avenue, Horizon. Okay, prior to right. Okay, yeah. So right now the mayor has turned that into the raise the age location for most of the 16 and 17-year-olds that were on Rikers Island because he instituted that once Jay-Z came out with the documentary about Khalid Browder. So he figured it would be a good idea, but it really wasn't because then you had those 16 and 17-year-olds going over there in a facility and all they were doing was hooking off on staff.
Wow.
The newspaper doesn't really talk about that.
Right.
It happens all the time, okay? But I was working there. But you go even further back to Spofford, where it all began, okay? Not too far away from where we are now.
Is Spofford closed?
It's closed.
Right.
It's been closed since 2011.
I have visits there.
You had, okay.
Yeah.
I've had visits. I've had a couple of visits there.
But see, what was going on that made everything so toxic is that there were no filters in Spofford. Everything there weren't even cameras at the time.
But Spofford was still like a jail, because they had it sectioned off where it was like the violent juveniles, then like you said, they could have been violent, but their offense wasn't violent.
Well, see, while I was working there at the time, Spofford was still open. So there were times when I would get stuck at work and they were so short-staffed, they would make some of us go work over there. So they would pack us up in the van.
Always was short-staffed. I know a lot of friends of mine work there.
Yeah. So depending on your seniority, and I wasn't there very long, you were first to go there. So I'm working from 2 to 11, and they say, yo, you're doing a double. But you're not doing it here. You're going to Spofford. Man,
what was Spofford? What was it like working at Spofford?
Oh my God, Spofford was like a cross between a dungeon and a psych ward. And it was crazy because at the time they cut off a section of the facility, so it was just cut off. No lights, no heat, no
that's
anything.
Spooky.
So you would see a long hallway, and then on the back end, you see another long hallway with everything dark. They said there were raccoons living in there at the time. And they were still having kids living there. I mean, there are people who have left Spofford that are complaining about the conditions where they couldn't even breathe because there was asbestos in the walls.
Wow.
So that's why they had to close it, because people were getting sick. There were so many kids that were violated in that environment that the people in Hunts Point just wanted to shut down.
Wow.
So they shut it down around the time of Mayor Bloomberg came involved, and then he connected the Department of Juvenile Justice with ACS.
Why was that before we I gotta change it so they can see you. Excuse me.
Before we even, because I want to touch on that Department of Justice link. But do you think that Spofford was reforming youth? No. It was making them more criminal minded. It was preparing them because everything was retribution. Everything was, punishment. There wasn't any real reform at all. I mean, every now and then when I was working at Horizon, we would have, someone that would work with them on poetry. They would have, creative art, as far as like graffiti writing and stuff like that, basketball and stuff. But at the end of the day, those kids were just trying to fight all the time. And the staff was just trying to break them up. And sometimes there were situations where, to keep the peace, they would make an entire hall one particular gang.
thinking that, okay, if y'all are all together, y'all not gonna fight each other.
Right.
But then they just became a wolf pack. And then they would just lock the doors and lock the staff out, and they would have to bring the cops in to get in the door. It was crazy. Let me tell you something. I would go on a hall. Listen. I would go on a hall. I would literally go on a hall. Like I would be working on E hall, and I would go over to G hall. I would go over there. I would smell the marijuana in the hallway. Okay. I would go in there. In the staff, in like the lounge room, they had like Spanish food. So they just making plates, and they're like, "Yo, you want a plate?" So they were making plates. You know, half those kids had their own radios and stuff in their room.
Please understand, what was the age of spot for 16 and under, correct?
16 and under.
Yes, because I just want our viewers who
to understand.
This is not Rikers Island. We're talking about Spofford.
Right.
So when I wrote the book, it's set up like a timeline. So when I first started in 2005, all the way to when I left in 2015, and the characters that are involved, and the people that I encountered, and the kids, and the recruiting that went on, the gang recruiting that went on. So, inside. There was a lot of that. There was a lot. I mean, I would take off one day, and a kid would be neutral. The next day he'd be blood. You know what I'm saying? Or he'll be Patia, or he'll be 1090, or he'll be Crip. And that's what was going on all the time.
So what does that do to you, getting up every morning, going to work, and having to deal with this type of, you know what I mean?
I was a wreck. I was, normally as females, you come home to your man, you talk about stuff that went on, you broke a nail or something, or, something happened. You had an argument with somebody at work. No, I'm breaking up a fight. Mad kids hit me in the head. I almost got my finger shut off in the door. I see a female staff member of mine get stabbed with a pencil. I have to break that stuff up. And instead
of restrain people too, right?
All day. There was like 2-3 restraints, even more a day. Okay, every single day.
And
it got to the point
work.
I became.
I know people who like disabled for life from restraints.
Right.
Because there is no. I've learned restraints. When you learn restraints, they teach you the technique, correct?
Right, of course.
But when a human being that's fighting against you, there is no technique.
No, they teach you the technique in slow motion. Okay?
Right.
They don't
not
teach
with
you.
some. Right.
I mean, when a riot breaks out, that's out the window.
Right.
There's no technique for that.
Right.
Yeah. I used to work in a psych in a hospital when I left because of that. I had 3 coworkers back to back, like disabled for life because of wrong restraints.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, I'm not built for this.
Right. I want to go to work and come home.
I don't want to touch nobody.
Right. I don't
want to throw them on the floor.
Nobody.
Yeah. Right. And you got to grab them in a certain position. I'm good.
So my belief is that the entire juvenile justice system just needs to be eliminated. It ain't working. Okay, I mean, like for instance, the facility I used to work at, Horizon, they changed that to the raise the age location. So all the 16 and 17 year olds that were on Rikers, they're there. So they moved all the younger ones to the location in Brooklyn. To Crossroads.
So is that where so currently right now, juveniles that are under 16 reside in Brooklyn?
They're in Brooklyn. Guess how many kids are in there?
How many?
25.
In the whole New York?
In the whole New York.
So you telling me there's only 25 juvenile criminals?
There. Why do you have that?
So where's the rest of the juveniles?
They're not. Kids aren't getting locked up like they used to.
They're not?
Well, it's happening, but it's not. It's declining. It's declining. There are 25.
With all the I'm confused, right? Because with all the gangs that are going on in New York, it's almost like when I grew up, we were gang. I just didn't know it. We didn't rep it like a gang, but we were gang.
Right.
Like
we had
let's be
clicks.
clear,
Yeah.
But at the time, it wasn't identified as such. And I'm using Junior, the story of Junior as an example that I have. God bless the dead, been a part of or witnessed, because I won't say I've done it, I've not done it, but I've witnessed incidences like a Junior scenario. What escalates it is when you see it on camera and film, that becomes animalistic, right? So you telling me now that with all, because like I said, when we were growing up, you were in a crew, but it wasn't identified as such, so it didn't everybody didn't gravitate to being a clique or a crew. Nowadays, it's identified as gang, and most youth do gravitate to that.
Right.
So with all the gangs that's going on with the youth gravitating, are you sitting here telling us that it's only 25 youth criminals out there?
I got off the phone with somebody who works there now. That's how many.
Currently. Wow.
That's just weird.
So my point is, why do you have this for 25 kids? They're basically just keeping people employed and not really, and I'm not really going to put it on juvenile counselors because the job is rough, it's hard. I'm talking about those higher ups, okay? So let's go back to Spofford, okay? When they shut down Spofford, as toxic as it was, as crazy as it was, as bad as it was, those people that ran that place, they didn't come up on charges or anything. They started running the one in the Bronx.
Wow.
And they went over to Brooklyn.
Wow.
So they still there.
But I can kind of agree with you with the 25 because there are a lot of other programs now.
Other programs,
I have
alternative
students
programs.
in my classes today that are coming from facilities with parole officers, but it's not Brooklyn. It's other smaller programs that are housing these children and providing them shelter, and actually controlling them, following up on school, checking the records, coming to the school. So I can almost understand because it's kind of, I think, broken up now. It's not that like one main facility like Spofford was.
And see, the thing is that I'm a thorn in their side because I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on. They're told not to speak about the stuff that I'm speaking about. So when I wrote the book, I came under fire, from people from ACS and people that I used to work with because I technically was, the whistleblower. I put it out there, you know what I mean? And the way the book is set up, I changed the names, but if you were there, you knew who I was talking about. You know what I mean? And it was uncomfortable a little bit just because as I move forward, I ain't have no threats or anything, and not that I was afraid because I knew that at the end of the day I was doing God's work. And it was important for me to do what I could to expose the system to save these children, to show that this thing is not working.
Well, let's talk about the way they promoted it to you initially when you went for the job, because you did mention that before. How did they present this opportunity?
Well, I mean, when I first started working there, they made it seem like you'd be, you're going to be a juvenile counselor. So being a counselor, you're assuming you're going to be at a desk in an office working with kids. No. I went in there with 21 people that applied for the job. By the time the training was over, there was just 8 of us. Because after like the first day, they said, yo, you could get spit on. You could get cursed at. You can get urine thrown on you. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. That's what goes on. And people are like, what are you talking about? That's not the description you gave us. You know what I mean? When it was in the paper. But the person that I was working with, that I knew, he told me all. He said, this is the deal. You know what I mean? And I knew at the time that my main objective was to be a provider for my children. So I was ready to go to war if I had to keep them in my life. And I was able to go to, fight for custody of them. And I did get custody because I seemed to be someone who had stability, and I had a clean record and everything, working in the system, they test you and everything. You have to have not a criminal background. And the judge just felt like I was a better provider at the time. Now, well, years have gone by because my son's now 21 and my daughter's 16. But, throughout that time, we decided to go through joint custody just so that it was important that their mother was in their life too. So, that's what happened. But for me as a man, it was uncomfortable and it became culture shock for me. I was a zombie waking up. I'd watch Sports Center like 100 times and then go to work. And I was paying the bills. I was a provider for my family and everything. And my lady couldn't get through to me at all because I was just, I'm gonna go to work and come back and make sure everything is taken care of. And I was just like caught up in that system. And it wasn't healthy at all, and it made me really realize that I had a greater purpose. Maybe God put me there so that I can tell this story and I can share it with the world.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, I would assume initially it was for the paycheck. But I mean, there's no way you can have a job like that working with these kids every day with a revolving door and you don't somehow be touched. Right. To where it becomes a bigger purpose.
And being someone who comes from an autistic background, I'm an artist. I'm a clothing designer. So I knew that, you know, I was like a fly on the wall. I didn't document a lot of things, but I was recording it in my head. Like, this is going on. That's going on. This is
you
crazy.
have small children, so you like, wow, a 10, a 12-year-old is going through this.
It was painful.
I mean, you know, you being a male, right, can play a more dominant role with children as opposed to a single mother. But now I'm a single mother and I'm one of the viewers that's listening right now, and I have a 12-year-old, and I've done the best that I possibly can to raise this 12-year-old, let's just say boy, son. And, you know, father's not around, sending his child to school every day, you working, so you're not home like you would want to be because you're trying to be a provider. And your child is being influenced slowly but surely. You see the change in your child by the crowd that they hang around.
Right.
And the child gets caught up in a situation where they do go to jail and they do get locked up from trying to prove to their older friends that they're the man, or you know, they got swag or whatever like that. I mean, can you, I know, and again, we know you're not a psychiatrist or anything like that, but can you just give like a piece of advice on what a woman can do to try to help save her son? Because for women, we don't think like men. We can't be men, right? And there is a different dominance with a male versus a woman.
Right.
For me, I'm an aggressor. So with my son, I was the aggressor and his father was the opposite, right? So, but I still couldn't be a man. I can't teach my son male stuff.
Right.
So what would you say to a mother who's going through that struggle right now, who has a child who she's trying to just work and provide for, but the child just seems to hang around an older crowd and is like slowly but surely deteriorating their normal pattern, getting caught up, like Debra said, in the streets?
Well, I mean, I feel like in this city, what has been difficult to see is the demise of the music systems in schools and, you know, the art systems in schools. And then you have a lot of schools now that are like getting rid of a lot of the sport programs. But I always feel like when you can find ways to get your child into something artistic and creative, then that will, and really get into them with that. You know what I mean? Maybe send them to an art school if they're artistic, or if they have an ability to play basketball or football, you know, encourage them to do that. Because I know for myself, you know, me and my brother, you know, I grew up in a single parent household, and my mother raised me and my brother. My father passed away when I was 5, and she had to figure out a way to keep us from the streets.
Right.
And she knew that we loved football. So she would take us to these, you know, these Pop Warner games and everything. And she was a football mom, and she would take us to, you know, play ball and everything. We were into it to the point that, you know, we excelled in high school. You know, I got a championship when I played. My brother was all city and everything when he played. You know, so we got through everything, and through the grace of God, we both graduated from college. You know,
I think you have a point with that, because I mean, even my life, right? My son, after 6 years old of him turning 6, he never spent the summer in New York. Like to just come home and go to the park. I just did not allow that.
Right.
It's a whole 2 months. So you're just gonna wake up and go to the park and then come home.
a lot of kids do that.
Nothing.
A lot of kids do that.
Again, we have viewers, right? So I'm just trying to paint the picture on top of what you've just put out there, because I think that what you just said is an extreme jewel for my question of what I asked.
Important.
How about you, Debra? Because you also have boys.
Yeah, but my boys stay in structured programs. I find camps for them. I don't. They just don't have that leisure time to just be laying around. They don't know what it is. I live in a building. There's no young children where I live, so they have to either be in a program. I have to drive them somewhere. They can't just go outside to the park. There is no park. I have to physically get in my car and drive them to their activities, and I do that. And I drive them.
Too.
Yeah, I drive them because they don't know nothing. My kids don't know the life of just hanging outside or just sitting on the park or on the bench in the park or trying to hang out with people just walking around in the street. They don't know that life. You know, none of my 4 children know that life. Even years ago when I was 19 and I had my son early, my first son, they don't know that life.
Right.
You know, they don't have that. I know who's around them. I know who they're with. They come from families that have similar values that I have, you know?
The kids that are locked up, they're the ones that are hanging out.
Right.
I mean, I knew kids who said as young as 6, he was staying out to 2 in the morning.
Why?
I could have tell because I was the type of kid that was staying out to 1 and 2 in the morning.
And how old were you?
And I was young, 15, 16. Now with my son, he was 17. He was damn near going to college, and he would be like, "Mom, I'm going to stay out at 1." And I'd be like, "If you tell me what's in the street past 12 a.m., here go my key." But if you can't come up with nothing,
right? You just out doing right.
It's nothing but trouble.
I just need to know what's going on after 12.
Right.
He's like, "Mom, I'm 17. You could be 35, but you're coming up in 2E. I need to know what's going on."
Right. We got male children. Like anything can happen.
Right.
I want to know, what was the pivotal point for you? What made you say enough is enough? I mean, I also want you to share a story from your book, but I don't know if you want to do that first. You pick the order that you want to do it in.
We're gonna save that. Let's got some time.
Yeah, let's just talk about, like we talked about the mentality. Like I know some females that actually were correction officers. They retired early. I know it's a good profession. You can work your years, good pension,
and they retired. They
They
still
retired
doing
early.
it.
They be like 45, and they be retired. I'm like,
shout out to Lisa and a few of y'all.
Damn,
y'all
got a whole new career going on now because y'all still young. But I'm just like, the job, like I don't even know if I could stomach. Like I feel I can handle a lot. But to see children going through those type of situations, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
Once you get caught up in that system, that's what it is. You at the mercy of whoever might want to mess with you that day, or whoever might want to, or feeling some type of way and want to take it out on you, or whatever. Or you may wake up on feeling some type of way and want to do something to somebody. Like I want the mindset of living in a system where you are restricted and you're trying to find ways every day to get over or have some type of normalcy of what you interpret that to be.
There's no normalcy there.
Right. No?
Everything is chaotic. And what I think helped me was that I always gravitated to the alpha male of the group. I always gravitated to that one kid that everybody else was afraid of. And what I ended up doing was he became my dude.
Yeah, you need that.
And he would hold me down because, you know, so many times we get suspended, we get, you know, terminated for putting our hands on these kids.
Yeah.
And you half the time you're defending yourself. Well, I can't say half the time. There's some people that are excessive with it. You know?
But that one bad kid is he may have to go to bed early or something. Nothing bad's gonna happen to him. So I'll hit him off with a snack or something, and he'll take care of me. So when a kid
take care of you means what?
Well, I mean, let's say for instance, if I'm giving a rap session. So what would happen is when I would come on my tour, all the kids will come out their rooms. They would sit on chairs, which we would call bricks. Sit down there. I would talk to them for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and ask them how their day was, and ask them how they were doing. And there may be 1 or 2 kids giggling or something, and that one alpha male would get up and say, "Yo, don't you hear him talking?"
Right, disrupt.
Don't let me have to come back there. You see what I'm saying? And that's how I was able to exist in that environment.
Wow.
I would find that kid, and even if he was unapproachable, I'm approaching him.
Okay.
I'm going to his room and I'm closing the door, and he'll look at me like, "Yo, you crazy, bro. I'll break your face right now." I'm like, "Listen, man.
These kids
because at the end of the day, because to me, they're children. Okay? No matter how tough they are, no matter how much gang activity they've been involved with, they're children. And I just think sometimes in life they've been talked to or they've been treated in a way where they were fighting for attention.
Right.
And they just never really got it.
Right.
So I would sometimes be that one to give that to them.
Just wanting a hug, right?
That.
Or just not wanting to be told you just like your no good ass father repeatedly time and time and time again. Listen, parents, I'm not no gospel person and I'm not here to preach, neither is any of us. But the one thing that I think that across the board we're all gonna agree to is you have to respect your children in the way you talk to your children.
Absolutely.
You have to respect them.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to be told from 6 years old that they're no good like their other parent because one parent is upset at that parent.
Right.
It's not fair to the children. It's just not. I hate people who do that. And I hate is a strong word, but I really disdain parents who don't have a child. I remember my mother called me a bitch once. It stained me so bad. It stained me so bad, and I don't think she knew the impact she had by calling me that. You know, and it's like with my son, I tippy-toe on. I had a relationship with him where I could just look. Thank God. So I could count on hands how many times I actually had to physically touch him. You know what I mean? And I always thank God for that relationship because that's a power that a lot of parents don't have anymore.
Right.
But I just never, ever thought that it would be conducive to call your child a hoe, a bitch, a no good motherfucker. This is somebody that you carry for 9 months.
But it happens all the time.
And
these kids are talked to that way.
Right.
They've been talked to by teachers that way. They've been talked to by their parents that way. They've been called ugly. They've been called, nasty. They've been told they've been locked in rooms. You know what I mean? So, they get around an environment of, I'm not going to necessarily call them misfits, but kids who didn't really fit in, and they all seem to fit in with each other.
Yeah,
now they all feel like they belong. So they may find a gang that fits them, or they may find a group of people that they're comfortable with. And, as much as we would try to keep them from going down that road, it was almost inevitable.
I had a student say to me today, he's like, Miss, I was teaching math. He's like, I'm not good at anything. My mother my friends always tell me I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm not even gonna try and waste my time. And I had to literally pull him to the side and talk to him.
I think
I take that time out. I don't care what the lesson plan is, what the structure, how much I gotta fit into 45 minutes. I take that time out and talk to them. And then once I see you talking like that, I'm talking to you every day.
Right.
I'm reinforcing, I'm backing it up every day. If I see you in the hallway, I'm calling your name. I see you. You know what I'm saying?
It goes back to the Mamba mentality. I was watching Kobe today. I watch his reels every day now. They're so inspirational. I got good fire stick. I put it like that because there's so much footage of Kobe out there that I didn't know exists.
Right.
But one interview I was watching today, he was saying how, he was told at 13 he would never play basketball. That was a dream, and that he should stop making it his priority. And he said he took that of what the person said, and it made him put basketball as his only priority. So, everybody doesn't have confidence, right? That's not for free. Confidence is built, like you said, from parents. As your kid is getting older, you can do it. You can do it. You're great, even when it's a mess. It's beautiful. When you don't have parents that are saying that to you, and then you have teachers and guidance counselors, and I'm saying that because we don't know our viewership, right? We might have guidance counselors out there, teachers, anybody that's dealing with children. We all need to encourage and do our part if we're gonna make sure that society moving forward, because right now it's fucked up. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Our youth right now is lost. It's just like, these are the people who we relying on keeping it going.
And they're angry too.
Very angry
because
they feel like nobody is listening. Nobody cares about them.
They're very disrespectful.
Why do you think they're very angry? They are super disrespectful.
OD.
But why do you think? Well, I think the disrespect comes from the neighbors. Not before my neighbor could. checked me, and my mother ain't have nothing to say. Now the mother want to fight you.
Right.
That's over now. As far as like the whole village concept,
that's done.
It's done.
That's
okay.
done.
And what we're dealing with now is we're dealing with a youth male population that is tired of being told that they can't do things, and they're going to tell you to stick it. And they're gonna tell you, fuck you.
Is that why they so angry?
Well, it's kind of a jail mentality because they almost are like me against the world, like rude boys.
Right.
Like, we ain't got nothing to do. We don't care. I mean, at one point I thought maybe the music was contributing to how they were doing stuff, but you can't even put it on.
I never blame the music because we all grew up on music and we all grew up.
Absolutely.
We all grew up with. I mean, come on,
the music
violence.
today, I can't understand. I'm sorry. Some of the lyrics, I don't know what they trying to say or where they going with it. We had a little
I just
message.
don't think music can make you a junkie. Me listening to Lil Wayne is not going to make me sip syrup. That's me. I don't know what the kids,
I've seen some kids that will listen. If they are fans and if they are caught up, I've seen kids try to emulate what they see. Like some kids are not that strong in the mind.
But it works both ways. I mean,
does.
like you say, art imitates life. Life can imitate art.
It can. Life is imitating art right now.
So it's like, these rap artists are picking up off of what's really going on in the street.
Right. They always do, but that's always been the case.
So you can't really blame the music because the street is dictating what the artist is saying.
Right.
And how they move.
It's coming from that source.
It's coming from that source. And that's basically what's happening. And for me, working in this environment that was so hateful, so evil, so mean, I always showed love. I always show something positive. Like if two kids are arguing in a situation and say, yo, man, I got you, I violated you. A staff member may come by and may say, yo, I saw that, you got violated, and laugh.
That's crazy.
I wasn't like that.
Do that?
I was the one that would say, yo, you get them next time. You know what I'm saying? I was that guy. To encourage that one that might feel some type of way, clenching his fist, and if I'm watching body language and I'm seeing that he's getting a little tight over something, I'm gonna pull him aside and be like, yo, what's good?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What's going on? What's wrong with you?
Is there any kind of like empathy training is there any kind of training that you had to go through? Like maybe a continuing education type thing to make sure your mind was right, to check your psyche as a correction officer working in that system? Never.
What was discouraging for me was in the book I discussed a situation where we lost a coworker that was she died on the job. And we needed therapy, but they needed bodies in the facility. So they weren't willing to allow us to get the therapy that we needed to help us.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Hello, caller, you on the air? It's the Great Debate.
Yeah, how you doing? Listen, I came up with a very good topic about why these kids are so angry. In my strongest opinion, as me, as an older man, and me, I used to be a kid also, that we all know that education starts at home first and foremost.
Right.
And that's also, a mother's also a counselor, a friend, et cetera. And I personally witnessed a friend of mine a female, who has like 5 boys. They're grown now. They're in their 20s and 30s right now. And I think it was kids, 13, 14 years old. Kids are going to be kids, and when they do something wrong, the mother, she's like, oh, you ain't as sugar as kid, you just like your dad, I'll punch you in your face, talking to these kids like they're strangers.
Right.
And kids, they want to say something back, but they're afraid of their parents, they're afraid of their mother. Now, as they get older, they grow up with anger and resentment. And all these adults that surround them, that's not respecting them, you're not allowing them to be kids. When they're out in the streets, they have no respect for elders. They see everyone the same.
Right.
You can't talk to your kids that way. So now what happens, now the kids are older in their 30s, and now they're able to defend themselves, and they feel like they can talk back and tell their mother how they feel. Like your mom, suck my, right into their private part. You ain't shit, you ain't this and that. Because they grow up with anger. And lastly, I believe that when you wake up in the morning and you say, today's going to be a bad day, it's going to be a bad day.
Right.
So I take that energy with my son, who's 8 years old. I make sure every morning I talk to my son. I make sure that he leaves that house smiling and happy, because when he goes to school, he has that energy, and he continues with the energy throughout the day.
Right.
If you talk to a kid, you tell this kid you're not going to be this, you're not going to be that, they're going to walk out the house, go to school with negative. They don't want to do anything. They're angry. So where do they go? They look for their peers for support, and
they're
not going to get
misguided.
Right. Thank you for calling in. We really appreciate that. That was very well said.
Right.
We appreciate that.
Right. And it's a true cycle.
Any other parent that want to call us up again, the number is 347-708-0216. You could tell your testimony. You can ask a question. It doesn't matter. We're all parents up on this panel right now, so it's a learning experience for all of us.
Yes, indeed.
I have a teacher that I work with who's from Russia. And the children in my school, they can't really identify. They can't connect with this teacher. And he kind of talks down to them, condescending. And I have to pull him to the side and be like, you can't use certain words with these kids because it sounds like you're putting them down. And I'm just trying to help you to relate to them better. Because right now, nobody's learning. This is an environment, they're angry. They feel like you coming at them. You saying to them, you should have common sense. They saying we got common sense. So it's a battle in the classroom. So now he curses, he says something to a student. The student cursed him out and walked out the classroom. He calls the student mother and says to the mother, your daughter, da 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 da. The mother said, excuse me, you ain't even addressed me properly. So now she's not even going into what her child, she's like, look, if you're going to talk to people. So it became a whole nother issue, and they never even got into the disrespect that her child, but evidently we see where it came from, because she ended up cursing out the teacher. So it's like,
that's not cute.
It's not cute.
That's not hot.
It's not cute. It was just like, okay, so now we see where it come from. You know what I mean?
There's plenty of times I've gotten to, we're going to advocate for our kids.
Right.
So there's plenty of times I went to my son's schools and I was not happy. Because I've been an involved parent from day uno, right? There's plenty of times you don't be happy as a parent, but you have to you are a walking brand to your child.
Exactly.
If you don't get up and go to work every day, your child's not going to know what it's like to get up and go to work every day. If you talk to people real reckless and crazy without remorse,
what's going to happen?
Your child is going to think that they can talk to people real crazy with no remorse.
Right.
If you threaten to beat people up all day, every day, your child thinks it's okay to threaten people and beat them up every day.
They representing what they know.
That's why, even as a man, you know what I mean? My son is out there right now. He's 10. Me and his mother been together for 13 years. And I'm mindful of how I speak to her as a female, to not let him think that that's how you talk to females.
Right.
Okay, so even if we get into a heated discussion, the door gets closed.
Right.
We're not going to be out in Front Street showing out. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, females, sometimes y'all want to win a debate.
Allegedly. The great debate.
So y'all pull some things, and, as a man, I find myself falling back and saying, we'll talk about it later.
It's not
going to go down.
Well, one person has to be the more mature person, right? Because we both can't be reckless, like you said, in front of the kid.
Right.
Because that's not conducive to...
Because they're watching, and they're learning, and they're seeing how it's done, and they're going to...
We're modeling for them.
Exactly.
You don't think about it. We are modeling the type of behavior. What I'm realizing in my classes today, when your child reaches 8 years old, before they even become a teenager, those are the most pivotal times. That's when their real personality is developing. This is when they can go left or when they can go right. And we don't think about that. Even the games we have them play, we buy them Mortal Kombat, whatever. I don't even know what the game is today. All that stuff that we think, it's just fun and games. It brings out certain characteristics in them. And this is psychology courses that I'm reading about. Some of the things that I've read are some of the smallest things that you would do or buy for your child just to please them. But depending on their chemical makeup, what's going on with them chemically through their adolescence and how they're growing, it can have some real devastating effects on them.
Right.
And so there's
what I mean?
And I also feel like there's a catch-22, right? So we are talking about supporting our kids and making sure that they are, feeling loved to the utmost level, but there is a thin line. And the reason why I say that, anybody who knows me know, I had a friend, Naomi. She was a baby mother of one of the Wu-Tang Clan. This is my very good friend. And Staten Island, her family ran it. Her uncle was this huge time dealer that got murked on the main Ave. Wow. And Naomi was the baby girl of the family. So me hanging with Naomi never did wrong. Nobody never made Naomi accountable for any fucking thing she did. She always escaped it. And I learned that it fucked her up. She became an alcoholic. She couldn't deal with society because at the end of the day, life is going to hit you. It may not hit you as a youth. It may not hit you under your mother's roof, but at some point, you're going to have to deal with life.
Absolutely.
And me saying that is because when my son was young, he used to have this huge toy chest. I'm just giving an example. You could take it how, you could apply it to how you need to apply it. But my example was, my son had this big toy chest. There was 1,000 toys, and at the bottom of that toy chest was those little G.I. Joe or whatever men. And when he would get company, they always wanted to dump out that bottom piece. And it would take like an hour, maybe 2 hours to clean all that up. And I used to tell my son, stop letting James, stop letting Dave Vaughn, stop letting them dump that shit out. And he wouldn't listen. So what happens now, I don't care if it's 12 in the morning. You're gonna pick you let them leave and they didn't help you. You are accountable for this room being clean before you lay down at night.
That's a big word. Accountability is such a big word.
It was a small lesson I gave him.
But it's
more because now I'm gonna be responsible. Ain't nobody leaving this house without.
Right, James, get back in. Right. You left that on the floor, and it's true.
And now he keeps his stuff clean. He's a clean male because of that small lesson. And my friend said, well, why are you doing that? It's 12 at night. Let Tariq go to sleep. He got school in the morning. I don't give a fuck if he gotta get up at 5 a.m. He gonna pick up. It's about making your child accountable for whatever they doing. Right. Because in real life, when they're not under your wing, when they're not living with you, if they don't know what it's like to be accountable, they're not gonna know how to adjust in life.
There's a lot of grown adults that's not accountable and like to blame so and so for whatever they did
because they've done it their whole life.
Their whole life.
You know what I'm saying?
They don't know how to.
Their whole life.
And then sometimes certain parents, when you're a parent and you're punishing your child, sometimes you're punishing yourself too. So you may be ready to go to the pool or something, but he doesn't deserve to go to the
punishment,
pool.
So I gotta stay home.
You gotta stay home too.
Right.
Parents don't do that today.
A lot of parents they don't.
Grandparents don't even do that today.
They'll take the kid with them and say, "Yo, you got to sit over there."
Right.
And then he's not sitting there. And then he's embarrassing you because now you're making a movie because you trying to enjoy your day having him here when he doesn't deserve to be here, and you need to be home with him.
Crazy.
That's how it is.
So I know the situation that you brought up about the correction officer losing her life. That was also part of the book. Is there something else, another aspect that you would like to share with us?
Don't give the book too much.
Don't give it away, but I'm saying that
and
something
you're gonna tell us
really
where they can find the book and.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, let's go. Well, I wrote this book 2 years ago. Okay. And I was with a different publishing company, and I just really didn't feel like they were supporting the message of the book. So I switched and I got down with a new publisher. I republished the book, and I republished it last year, at the beginning of last year. And since I've done that, I actually felt like as you read the book, you see the transformation of me becoming more of an advocate and less of just a coworker. And I felt like it was my responsibility to really do what I could to speak about the issues in the juvenile justice system. So within the past year, I developed a nonprofit called Lupa Justice, lupajustice.org. You can go online, you can find it. And Lupa is the acronym to the book. So it's the initials of locked up and put away. Okay. So that's what that is.
It's on your hat. I'm looking at it. Right. Justice and right.
Question justice. So basically, the objective with Lupa Justice is our intent is to go into the schools and speak to children as young as 10
I need
about
you to
the
come to
juvenile
mines.
justice system.
Right. I need you to come to mines.
Go to the YMCAs, go to the YWCAs, go to the community centers and speak to children about the juvenile justice system. Because once they get an insight on what's really going on, Johnny that wants to be tough can't really tell him or her what it was that they've experienced inside those walls, because they've already heard about it.
Right.
Because I'm telling them about it. And then as I move forward, I'm going to have certain people working with me who have actually been in this environment. So I'm still in touch with some of the kids that are characters in the story.
Okay.
Okay? To come forward and do this with me. And we're going to start doing it here in New York.
Good.
And then we're going to branch out to Philly. We're going to branch out all over the country.
And where can our viewers find the book?
The book is available on Amazon. The book is available on BarnesandNoble.com. It's available in Barnes and Noble.
Locked up and put away, right?
Usually on the East Coast. Okay? Locked up and put away. And you can find it there. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, Booker G's. You can find me there. My website is lubajustice.org, and you can sign up and be a follower. You can be a supporter. And the objective is to really educate our youth, because the system is a cash cow.
I was about to talk about
They're
that.
not.
I wanted to ask you
they're
about
not
that.
Because when you really go back and look at the numbers and you say, okay, realistically, they're probably like 75 people working around 25 kids.
Right.
What the hell is that? Okay, that's just keeping this thing going. Right. It don't need to exist anymore. Okay, it's over. We need to find alternative methods to reach our children, and it's not working with this, because all we're doing is we're preparing them for the next step, which is a Rikers.
Right, it's prison.
Okay, so you guys, I'm sorry, but Rema's always got to be the advocate, right, or the opposed.
That's the great debate, y'all. Right.
So sometimes, and not all the time, and this is my opinion, viewers. I feel that harsh punishment is necessary. And I'm going to tell you why. When I was 14 and 15, I used to get in trouble. I used to beat people up because I knew how to fight and I could do it. And I was like a lead chick in a notorious crew. And that's just my position of how I was viewed. And I was angry and I just hated the world. So I fought. I was taken away from my son for 18 months. A lot of people don't know this, and I'm like kind of putting it out there. But again, I'm definitely 100% reformed. But I was taken away from my son for 18 months. He doesn't remember because he was 1 at the time. And those 18 months saved my life. So had I not been taken away and put away from my environment, right, I would have probably been dead. I'm sure I would have been dead. Like, not even like prison. I would have been gone, right? I had so many enemies. It was pathetic. That's why I'd be like, these enemies now?
Right.
I had real enemies. What's
Right.
beef, right? So I'm saying that to say, when I was taken away for those 18 months, a year was hard. And then the last 6 months was transitional. The transitional, of course, was easy. Met a lot of good girls that still friends with me to this day on Facebook, some of them. Saying that to say, if I would not have did those 18 months, I would not have reformed. So if you I'm just saying that to say, for some youth, if there's no facility where they could get away from their environment, how are they gonna find, what avenues would they have to, because everybody can't, like the way I was, if you would have took me away from my environment, and I mean, I'm just gonna give you an example. When they came and got me, I was with 6 notorious guys, and the police jumped out and was like, freeze. And they were like, oh shit. And they was like, not y'all, her. That was like the notorious thing on my block. Like 8 got locked up with us, and it was like they didn't even want us, right? So now this, I'm just saying that to say that I'm not glorifying it. I'm putting it out there to say that really, if you wouldn't have took me out of my environment, if you would have took me out of my environment and would have put me with a guidance counselor, I would have played the guidance counselor, went back out there, and I would have been doing the same thing. It wasn't until they took me away from everything that I thought that I needed and loved, and they put me somewhere where I was away from that, was when I got the wake up call, like, I don't want, this is not what I want. It changed them 18 months changed the whole direction of my life.
But you're a success story.
Right.
That's rare.
I agree with that. I just think that when they put you in a worse situation, when they take you out of that and put you in another chaotic situation.
What I'm saying to you is the structure. There is no structure.
Right.
It's chaos.
Sometimes for some of these kids, they don't need structure. They need time out. They just need time out.
That's why there are alternative programs that they can do. They don't have to do this. This is
So let's talk about some alternatives.
Right.
Yeah, we have
this is a ancient method that they assume is going to make them better people. It does not.
It does not.
It does not work. Like you could take maybe 15 and one of them will react the way you did. But the majority of them are just going back to the whole criminal aspect of it.
There's no counseling. There's no reform.
It's time out. That's all it is. But
they going into situations where they getting raped, they getting this, they're
getting exposed to everything. And then at the same time, when you really look at the structure of the jail system, okay? This is mass incarceration. This is jail. This is the new slavery. This is the purpose of it. And then when you get down to the economics of it, you got to pay these fines to get out, and you got to pay that. Like, we can't afford that. So now you're just keeping us locked up. Our family can't afford that. So that's how they keep us down.
So when do you say that? Well, don't do the crime if you don't want to pay for it.
But they kids.
When do we say that?
A lot of them are kids.
Right. So how? That's my question. So what is the answer? Because we can't just let them.
But what you're doing is you're putting them in a shithole. Okay. You may say that this is going to reform them, but it's a shithole. They don't need to go.
Talk about the system. Talk about that when you in the 3rd and 4th grade, they're already building a jail cell
They're building jails
Talk
for them.
about the system.
Yes.
About when they see that, kids, schools and jails are being built together. You know what I'm saying? By the 3rd grade, they're already kind of pinpointing and projecting how much income, right? How much revenue they need to put into building jails instead of building or giving you money for college, giving you money for housing. And they taking money out of community programs. They shutting down art programs. They shutting down programs for your children to go to after school. They shutting down free camp programs, and they putting that money into the jail system.
And then once you come out,
opportunities for your children to grow and flourish. They taking the money out of that.
And you're like a second-class citizen.
Right.
So your voting rights are affected. Getting a job is affected.
But as parents, don't we have a responsibility too? Where I live at in Westchester, you want your kid to be in some sort of activity, you gotta fucking pay for it. Ain't nothing free in Westchester.
I understand that.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like the parents is paying for it. So yeah, I know my son is going there.
But then,
in the cities, we're not that fiscally responsible.
To be honest with you,
the money ain't even flourishing like that. Like
when you
a single
kids,
parent.
Right. So I'm just saying that to say that maybe you may not go to, Tipsy Tuesday.
Right.
And you may want to pay. I'm just saying.
No, these are the choices that we are making as parents. There's only one free camp program in my area. Why is that? Why is that?
Because the funding is cut so.
Why is that? Why is the first program that's cut in every school arts, music? That's the first program that's cut.
As parents, are we advocating in the schools? As parents, when we notify.
But what you're doing is you're going, look at what you're saying, the parents, okay? There are a lot of terrible parents.
There's a lot of parents that get phone calls, notifications to come in, to join PTA, to do all these things, and you don't hear from them.
Right.
You don't see them, but you'll see them posting live on Facebook at Salsa Con Fuego on Tuesday when they could have freaking been in PTA trying to figure out some ways to build some services for their kids.
Right.
Half the adults you see nowadays is partying Monday through Sunday.
And
I mean, no offense.
No, listen.
And
my quest right now tonight is, what do we do, right? Because I don't want to make excuses and say that.
You shouldn't, right? You're right.
I don't want to make excuses and say that. Oh, de Blasio is not having enough funding to put programs in.
No, the funds is there. Is where they putting it. And if we don't go and advocate,
right, we won't get it.
Listen, that's the key. If we don't advocate, what's gonna happen? We not advocating. But I tell you, look at them schools in Chinatown. Them parents will protest, right? God forbid they don't. If you go to look at the news downtown, them parents will be outside protesting. They don't want this, they don't want that. You would know about it. You'll see a news reporter standing there with the mic. They will be talking about it. It'll be petitions. Right. But we too busy. We caught up in who we don't like, who we want to like, who we want to. We caught up in the wrong things. That's the problem.
And I think that the kids don't get an opportunity to be kids. You know, they babysitting their young siblings. They doing the groceries. Yeah, we did it, but we still had our youth. I was still able to go downstairs and play double dutch. But now, I'm not playing double dutch. I'm upstairs in front of my mother and her girlfriends on my phone. So it's just like watching the siblings, doing adult activities.
I have students that come to school, they come to school late every day because they have to take their siblings to school first. I have students who can't even stay after school to get the services they need because they have to pick up their siblings from school. They don't get
so
a
they don't
life.
Even have a childhood.
They don't get a life, right? And their mothers is out. Some of them are working, some of them are not working. Some of them are not working. They just are home. And they're making their kids take the responsibility where I'm calling the parent, your child has been late. I know he has to drop off his brother at school. But you're home. You know what I mean? You're home and you're not, are you sick? Are you disabled? Like what's
another thing that, and again, not judging anybody. We just coming up, right? And we just coming up with things you could either take or you don't have to take, right? Because everything doesn't apply to everybody.
And this is not no individual specific story.
But
you know?
I feel like with the way that social media is now, I have an issue with people chastising their kids on social media.
I can't stand that, right? I can't stand
right?
that.
Because I'm just like, when I was raising my son, it was hard enough to chastise him in front of a friend, let alone you live.
Right, recording it. Crazy.
I mean, you gotta give a kid a chance to have emotions and give a kid a chance to grow. If 1,000 viewers is
that's what's going on now. People are more concerned with their viewership and seeing how many people are going to like what they're doing. Let me ask you this: in your school, how does that work with the phone situation with the kids?
Let me tell you,
what
the
you
kids,
like
it's like confiscating drugs in this school. They got a passageway. I don't know how they get in. We have let me tell you, you know how sad it is for me to see these kids go through the metal detector. They got to lift their feet up. They got to take their belts off. It's like preparing them for lockup. Okay? And these are I watch them every day come into the building, belts, coins, phones, and some of them are smuggling the phones in the back. It's crazy. So you're teaching them early how to go against the system, you know? You got gangs meeting up in the staircase. I smell marijuana. I ain't gonna tell y'all what school I work in. But, you know, but what I'm saying is, these kids are out of order. They talking to adults crazy. It's crazy.
That's why
I don't have that problem because I set the tone quick.
Even for me, working with pre-K kids, right? And so I just go in there and I teach them how to do a nutritional snack that they could go home and teach their parents.
Right.
So instead of I'll have a fatty snack. Like, let's just say I'll have Cheetos. And then I'll teach them how to do peanut butter with celery. I'm just using that I'm being hypothetical.
Right.
But whatever because I have a curriculum, right? But we actually teaching them how to make these nutritional snacks that are healthier alternatives, right?
My son
everything.
My son come home with some good recipes. I'm like, for real?
But what I did add, because this was that I was doing volunteer work for Food Bank. So what I did add, which Food Bank was so happy with me with, is I told the kids, because they all had cell phones, and they were on their cell phones when I came in. Like,
How old are they?
Pre-K.
Wow.
Pre-K.
With cell phones. Wow.
Pre-K. The whole class. So, being that all the kids was distracted by their cell phones, I had to have
pre-K?
In pre-K. Because you know why? Because they
crazy.
can't use their cell phones, but then me as a guest, they like we do. You know when you in a meeting, it's like, all right, now I can pull out the cell phone. So that's how they were. Like they thought, a guest, so now I could be on my cell, right?
Wow.
So I had to lighten up my personality because I had to grab their attention. So I did this for like maybe 12 weeks, because it was 12 different meals I had to teach them. Now, one of the things that Food Bank was grateful for that I taught them, and again, you guys can take this home. My grandmother, when I taught her, God bless the dead, my grandmother applied it to our Thanksgiving, which was make a basket, make it real pretty. We did an arts and craft basket, and on the basket, it said cell phones. And so when you teaching your parents the snacks, how to make these snacks, and when y'all all enjoying sitting eating the snacks, you're gonna put this basket on your kitchen table. And every single body is gonna put their cell phone in this basket until after they finish.
I need a basket.
You gotta make it fun. You gotta make it fun,
right,
though.
You
gotta make it fun. Like when my grandmother applied it, I told her, and she was so excited about it, she applied it to Thanksgiving, and it didn't really work because we have young college kids in our family and stuff. They not giving up their cell phones.
Right.
But you could do that at home. Like if you have a family where there's children in the household and there's 2 adults or 1 adult or whoever it is, maybe not even every day of the week. Just choose 1 day of the week. Make a basket or a hat. You could even do a hat. It doesn't matter. But just make something where 1 day out the week, everybody for an hour or 2, however long you want it to be, and everybody puts their cell phones in there, and they're gonna let their cell phones rest for just that period of time.
That's a great idea.
When I go out to eat with my kids, cell phones is away. I don't want to see a cell phone at the table.
Definitely not the table.
Yeah, I don't want to see me talk. You have to talk to your kids, man. Bottom line.
Or your spouse too. I don't want to date no guy and you doing this all day.
Right.
That's corny.
Right.
I was that person.
Corny.
I was the corny person that was doing that. But since I've taken a load off my life,
I remember that conversation.
Yeah, I was that corny person.
Wait a minute. So you go on a date and you sitting there with your phone out on
I was with the father.
Right.
Yeah, I was with the father. And the father checked me, not even the guy. The father was just like, Miss Lady, are you going to join us in conversation? But I was at the time I promote. So I had a party and it was a lot going on in that chat.
It's just like your
and it's like
right
you
there.
feel like you missing something and you're out of the loop, right? But now I realize it's nothing important more than that valued time.
Nothing. You can always call somebody back, man.
If it's a fire alarm emergency, they gonna get through. But other than that, it could wait.
I'm enjoying this. We talking about some really good stuff here.
Hello, caller. You on the air? It's the Great Debate.
Right.
Hey, what's up? Hey, listen, I want to make one quick comment about that cell phone conversation. Right? Which is very important, especially when you go on a date. So from my man's perspective, when I first went out with my wife, who back then was my friend that I was dating, we went out to eat. From the time I got out the car, the cell phone was in my pocket. I never took my cell phone out until it was time for her to go home, when I dropped off at her door. And the very next day, you know what she said? Because females are very smart and they pay attention. She said, what I like about the dinner date is that you never touch your phone.
Right.
You made it all about me.
And I think that's all your situations.
Yeah, and that's very important. It's not to say that you can't use it, you know, because obviously if you got kids, if your job is calling, but it comes a time where you got to put the cell phone down and concentrate on who's in front of you.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's very important because a female would get turned off, and she would make her decision while that dinner date is going on. I'm not seeing this person again. He can't even get off his phone.
Right.
And not only that, I think it says a lot about you if you in a relationship. People who are in love ain't really got time to be on their phone like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless you have a,
you're not doing that right.
Because I see couples.
unless you have a brand
is just
or
like this. I don't
like
think
the gentleman man with the book.
You're not into her.
You're not. That's a clear sign.
I've been in love. I know what it's like.
Right.
When you in love, he on you. What's up, babe?
Phone? What phone? What phone?
Yeah, when you in love, there's no cell phone. It's like back in the days, growing up with just the house phone. Once you leave the house, that's it.
That's it. It's y'all two. That's it.
All right, man. And listen, it was a great show, and the gentleman gets there, man. That was a great thing you did by doing that book, man.
Right.
Much
support. We recommend it. We want everybody to support this book right here.
Thank you.
All right. Love is love, man. Be safe.
Thank you for calling up.
All right.
Any last words you want to say? I know you have the foundation now, the book. You told us where we can go and get the book.
Right.
Like, any words you want to leave us with as far as, I mean, just listening to you tonight, just hearing that children as young as 10 years old,
Right.
you know, being a part of that system, it just makes me sad to hear that, because that's the most important time of their life. They should be out having fun, playing with their friends and enjoying life and not being locked up. And it's just sad that children are born into situations like that. And we know it's there. We can't do nothing about it, but any takeaways you want us to end this segment with tonight?
I mean, the most important thing that I learned working in this environment was, in order to reach these young people, or reach young people in general, you have to listen to them.
Right.
You have to be an ear. You can't be talking all the time and reprimanding them and telling them what they can't do.
Right.
Because as they get older, they're gonna be defensive on how you talking to them, because that's just how these kids are now. So they're gonna respect you more if you talk to them with respect and you speak to them, not necessarily as an adult because they're children, but speak to them in a way where they can understand that it is respectful and it is loving. You're encouraging loving behavior and habits. And I was able to do that while working there, and that's why I was able to, the kids gravitated to me. Okay? So it was like when I showed up, it was a party. Or they just felt like, okay, this is the guy that I want to be with today. I never made them feel like they were in jail or they were locked up. It was almost like we were just all part of a dorm room, just hanging out, kicking it, you know. And I would talk to them like I might talk to my boys, you know, and just kick it with them. And they appreciated that. And I believe that a lot of them, you know, they never met anybody like me. You know, someone who is going to share themselves, listen to their issues, and be honest about who they are.
I can relate to that.
And that's important.
I can relate to that.
Either, you know, if you're a teacher, if you're a parent, you know, if you're working in this environment, be honest with them. And my objective with Loop of Justice is to really expose the toxic atmosphere that exists in these facilities.
Right.
And it's not healthy for our children. And we already know it's intended to lock up Black and Latino children. Period. And
do your research, man. It's really serious. It's really serious, right?
And it's and I've been the first person that has put an open eye on what's going on. When you read the book, you feel like you walk into this facility with
I read it.
And I'm going to read it.
Yes.
I felt like it's
I have
definitely.
to get you a copy, definitely.
No,
get you a copy without a doubt.
You feel like you're there. You feel the emotion in it, and you feel. I can visualize it.
Absolutely.
I can visualize it.
And that was the artistic side of me. That was the designer, the person. Because when I used to make clothes, and I used to design, and I focused on my fashion shows, it was something that you couldn't take your eyes off. Because you'd be like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. I did the same thing with the book. So it was like the
You
verbiage.
took us inside.
I took you inside.
Took us
I
inside.
made you feel like you were with me. And you were walking with me to the point that you, probably by chapter 5, you're like, yo, can you please resign and leave this place? Like, this shit is crazy.
It was making me feel like, woo, you know what I mean? Like I was going to work there every day.
Every chapter, it builds
Right.
to the point it can't get any worse than this. And it does.
Wow.
Seriously.
I can't wait to. I'm anticipating. And viewers, you can get his book on Amazon.com or BarnesandNobles.com.
Yes, indeed.
And the book is called Locked Up and Put Away. We want to thank Booker G, for coming in and joining the great debate. This was a great conversation.
Yes.
And I'm sure that there's some parents out there that got some sort of tips. And if you didn't get tips, you can call me and Debra up. You know, we're gonna repost this segment again for all those who came in late.
When I'm out of jail. But we will definitely.
But before we go, since we have 5 minutes, I
just want to say one thing to y'all. I think it's a wonderful thing that y'all are doing.
Thank you.
Y'all are really an inspiration to women and parents and black people in general based on the topics that you're doing. And I wish you guys nothing but all success.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We want you to stay though, because we're about to leave, but I'm gonna change gears just really quick because that's what I wanted. This is what I wanted to add to our hot topic conversation. So today, Mace posted, Mason Bether, better known. He posted on IG this really heartfelt. I got so many texts about this. He posted to Diddy, Sean Combs, basically a letter on Instagram. And basically what the letter was, recently at the Grammy, Sean Combs was told the artists that they need to, get their rights back and own their publishings, and the artists need to take back the music business. Because we all know there's really no money in the music business, but it's not really based off the labels anymore. It's just based off of computers, right?
Right.
But Jay-Z, Rock Nation, Sean Combs, Meek, they all had this Rock Nation brunch. At the brunch, they had these videos that went up. And if you guys didn't see the videos, they're out there. You can watch the videos on so many different websites. One of the videos they had, Puff was talking about our artists getting their ownerships back and us artists taking over control, and it's all about the black love. So Mace got on IG today and said, "Dear Puff, I've been an artist with you. I've been loyal. I've stepped in the line of fire. I've been, in the trenches with you from the beginning. At 19, you bought my royalties for $20K. And 2 days ago, I offered you 20 mil. No, 2 mil? Was it 2 mil, you guys? I think 2 mil, right? 2 mil? He offered him 2 mil cash to get his royalties back. And Puff supposedly said to him, if you outbid the Russian guy who originally offered me the money to buy your publishing, I will give it to you, but you gotta outbid this guy. So Mace is basically saying to Puff, he called him out. Basically, you claim black love, you claim that you loving the artist, but at the end of the day, we all know no artist won't sign to you because of your bad business practices. And you stole basically my publishings at 19, and I want them back. You telling me I gotta wait till I'm 50 years old when they're not gonna be, they won't be beneficial to me to get them back. So you guys, my thing is, how do you feel as Mace? Because there's so many mixed reviews I'm getting off this, right? Is Mace right or is Mace wrong for doing this?
I think that it's his.
Word up.
It's his lyrics, it's his soul in that. It's his music. Like, he's offering you something more than what you even invested in him, right? You bought the royalties. If I'm offering you more than what, for my own.
But if Puff is the one who's saying, I made you, and there would be no Mason Bether had I not invested
that's an assumption. I mean, nobody can stop what God has, and I mean, he could have hooked up with somebody else. That's just how it went down.
There's a lot of artists who hooked up with somebody else and they wound up not making it.
But then you go
right, because we have
what kind of person are you? What kind of person are you at this point? The man wants his stuff back, and he's willing to give you a substantial amount of money for it.
And then at the same time, where's the black love?
Where's the black love? And it's mine. Like, how would Puffy feel if he was in Mace's shoes?
Puffy's a businessman.
But I know. But you'd rather give it to a Russian for a couple of more dollars than to give it to the person that actually did it?
The point is, don't talk that black love when it's business.
Right.
There's no black love when it's business.
If you're strictly on business and you don't care about that, then don't say it.
Don't talk that black love.
Right. I don't know about
Does Mace have any accountability for not being wise enough to know that he was going to be a multi-million-dollar artist?
He was 19 at the time.
But you know what? A lot of artists at that time didn't realize where they was going to go with it.
So then that's my question. So if you didn't know where you was going and Puff geared you into where you was going, does Puff not have a right to that ownership of your masters?
The content is his,
Cameron, let's take a look at this. You got Cameron and Mace. They came up together. They played ball together. They both started their rap careers together. Cameron goes to Undies because of Big. Right. He really went to Undies because of Big, right? And then Mace goes to Puff to be this multi-million-dollar artist. Now, their careers take way different turns, right?
Right.
And so my point is, right, if Cameron can't cry for his masters because they don't mean as much as men, but let's be fair in this, right?
Okay.
You gotta have that argument.
Maybe you might have to throw an extra mil on that. I don't know. Like, look, I hear what Mace is saying, and I'm saying if you had any type of real relationship with this man, but I know it's not about that. I know it's about business. So at the end of the day, something that he signed at 19 years old, which might be 20 years later, like, look at the value of it. It means more for Mace to have it than for anybody else.
One thing that Mace did say that almost it was the tear jerk was that I will never touch music and have stayed away from music because of this. So
this situation right here.
Mace had other issues too. We all know that, right? But he's basically saying, because a lot of people had issues, they die down and you could come back in the game. Right. Mace could have came back in the game 5 years ago, 10 years ago. He didn't have to be out the whole 20, right? The whole 20 he's saying was due to the tear jerk he got at the beginning. It's like, I don't ever want to touch this again. So now you change the path of somebody's whole career.
Well, he allowed that man to. He didn't have to do that. That's the choice he made. If you're a musician at heart, like me,
anything that you love to do.
I'm just saying, like, I don't feel that type of way because nobody's going to stop me from doing what I want to do. Once you realize what your purpose is in life, you don't allow the next man to stop you from reaching that goal. But you don't blame it on nobody else. The choices that you make, it goes back to accountability. Like we said, you got to be accountable. What you didn't know at 19, when you get older and wiser, you try to correct that. I understand this man reaching out and trying to get his materials, his music, his stuff. And he just got it. That's behind closed doors. Him and Puffy need to work that out. But Puffy, you need to do the right thing. Right? How you going to sell this man music to a Russian? That shouldn't even be part of that should be on the table. Look, you got me ready to curse. Forget business, man. Do the right thing.
Yeah, do the
That's
right
that
thing.
Man's musical content. That's his legacy right there. Come on, get that man.
I just thought that the conversation was deep. Anybody that don't know and didn't see it, go on Mace's page and check it out. It is definitely a letter that you want to read.
I'm siding with Mace. Give that man his stuff back.
I'm siding with Mace too.
Right. Come on now.
Yep.
Everything and where Puffy is right now, you done took losses, you done lost somebody great. Don't put some, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta change your life some type of way. Everything ain't always about $1.
But see, that's the thing is
everything is not. Yeah, but he should be past that. He's in a good place. He got his children. He just took a loss. I'm talking about
financially.
I'm talking about financially.
And he still scream Crim Porter every day. I don't know.
No, but look at. I don't want to say karmic. I don't want to say karma. look, sometimes you gotta do the right thing. So things, you know what I'm saying?
Anybody
Reverse
in
that
life.
energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, do the right thing. Give Mace his stuff back. You ain't gonna hurt. You're gonna make a little something off of it still, because you did contribute to the man being successful and being out there to win. If $3 million or $2 million ain't enough, state your price, man. You know what I'm saying? State your price and keep it moving. Get on that yacht and do what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Give him an opportunity to get him back.
Right.
Give him
and let him have the chance to have the control
what
of
is
his
that
destiny.
Russian dude gonna do with that?
What are you gonna do with it?
It's not his.
What is the Russian gonna do with it?
Yeah.
What is the Russian gonna do with Makes Music?
Sell
you know what I'm saying?
Sell
What
it.
are you gonna do?
Anyway, you guys.
Take it to Moscow and go sit on. Like, what are you gonna do with it?
Really?
I'm mad now. Give that man back his stuff, man. Stop playing.
So anyway, you guys, this is a great debate show. That was I like the show tonight.
Look, anything.
And we coming back on Valentine's Day, y'all. We have something so special for you
Me
guys
and Rema
on
singing.
Valentine's Day.
We singing. We gonna
I
sing.
don't know about that. I don't know about that. But you know, you guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm Rema.
And I'm Debra Coco, y'all.
And this is the great debate, you guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good
and happy
night.
Super